Good evening, everybody. Thank you for the lovely words spoken, and my respects to all the elders in the auditorium. I can see a lot of students here too. It's 33 years since I've left the university, and I'm very happy to be back and talk to you. Before I start my talk about the topic, I'd like to discuss a small point here about one of the biggest challenges that I think the education system today is facing. When you enter a university or a college or a school, within the first semester itself, you get to know who are the very intelligent people in the class, intelligent people in the class, less intelligent people in the class. Because for the first time you get the results, you get to know that these are the three categories, and you also know which category you belong to. And what you decide stays with you for most cases. You remain there. If you are the intelligent, you remain there. If you are very intelligent, you remain there. If you are not so intelligent, you remain there. The whole class looks upon you like that, and you yourself start believing that you are what you are. And the fact is, nature has given everybody intelligence. The hardware is the same. There is no difference. Tell me, can you make out who is the most intelligent person in your class by looking at him? Does he have extra pair of eyes? Does he have extra pair of ears? Nature has given all of his intelligence. It is not correct that you are not intelligent and this is intelligent. No, it is just that some people use their intelligence, some people are learning to use their intelligence, and some people don't use their intelligence. Now let's try to figure this out. You can do this experiment during the next 1 hour of our talk. Let's figure out where you stand. Now, those who are sitting in the lecture and looking at the lecturer, and their thoughts are somewhere else. All the time they are thinking about something that's happening. Or they may be looking at the lecturer's bald head and saying, oh, this guy's bald head. Maybe when I grow up, I'll also have a bald head like that. I'm supposed to meet my lover in the evening. I'm supposed to have daru with my friends in the night. So these thoughts are constantly going on. These are the less intelligent people because they don't use their intelligence. Now these are the people who have to by heart. They may do well in exams, but they by heart and they do well in the exams. The second types are the one who is listening to the lecture, but their thoughts are fleeting. They're in and out of the classroom. These people get the concept of the lecture, but they also by heart. The ones who are very intelligent are the ones whose thoughts don't go anywhere during the lecture. They grasp the entire content of what is being told. So for the next 1 hour, let's see how many times your thoughts wander. Make a note of it and you know where you stand. Now coming back to looking at the health yesterday. When I mean yesterday, I would mean your grandparents and the great grandparents or my grandparents. Let's say about 50 to 100 years before now. 50 to 100 years back, everybody knew what to eat, how much to eat, how much to drink, when to exercise, what to exercise, how much to sleep. Everybody knew. Every grandmother or the grandfather knew what to do if you had a headache. You had a stomach ache, you had a stomach upset. Isn't it true? You go to your grandmother, wouldn't she tell you what to do? So this knowledge was there with everybody. They knew what to do if there is a viral fever, if you had a backache. Your grandfather, even great grandfather will even today tell you what to do. You don't have to go to the doctor for that. So this knowledge came from systems like Ayurveda and Yoga, which was more than 5,000 years old. Now let me give you these statistics. Systems like Ayurveda, Yoga are 5,000 years old. Homeopathy is 250 years old. Allopathy is 100 years old. Allopathy is the baby. Now, many generations before us survived beautifully with the knowledge of these alternative systems of medicine. They lived a good life. The only problem in that generation was infectious diseases. So there are many infectious diseases like tuberculosis, leprosy, smallpox, cholera. You know, people would die because of infectious diseases because there is no cure. That's why on an average people used to, live about 40 years, 50 years, and of course they used to have lots of wars during that time. So the life expectancy of people were very limited. That is when the medical science came up. The medical science came up with some amazing discovery of these infectious diseases, and they started to treat, and they could just do away with all smallpox. They could eradicate most of those diseases. Now, and they've started to extend the life of a person from 40 years to 50 to 60. Anybody who can extend a life by 5 to 10 years, isn't he God? So people started looking at medical science as God with high regards. They did wonderfully well, and slowly they started to do more and more research, and they started to come up with a lot of statistics. Now they started to tell us how much to eat, what to eat, when to eat, how much to exercise, how much to sleep, how much to drink. They started dictating everything, and they were right. They came up with statistics. These are the contents, this is what will happen to your body. They would come up with under the microscope changes, and we just started to believe them, and we just started to follow them. They were God to us, so we put our life in their hands. They started to dictate our lifestyle. Most of them were right. That's why you find a lot of people with, following them with beautiful figures, a lot of young boys and girls with chiseled figures, with six-pack abdomens and all that. All this is because of the knowledge that has come from that. But unfortunately, with all this knowledge, some of them were grossly wrong. That's why you ended up having a lot of lifestyle diseases. And you started to get diabetes, blood pressure, thyroid, obesity, kidney failures, cancers. All these were not heard of before. This is where we stand today. From yesterday, we came to today. Today is where we are right now here with so many lifestyle diseases, so many diseases that cannot be cured. Visiting the doctor so very often. So today, suppose you have a stomach pain and then you go to a doctor. He'll write a series of tests for you. He'll say, get an ultrasound done, get an MRI done, get a blood work done and come. So you go back to him the next day. He'll see all those reports and he'll tell you, all your reports are normal. You say, doc, but I'm having a stomach pain. He says, yeah, but all your reports are normal. Then he says, okay, today's doctor is very considerate. Let me tell you this. He'll tell you, okay, let me give you some medication. You take these medicines, you'll get better. And you go back home. Tomorrow, when you become old, when the students become old, you go to a doctor, and if there is the same situation where the reports are normal, the doctor will say, there are only two reasons. Number one, you're lying. Number two, you go to a psychiatrist. You eventually will end up with a psychiatrist because you don't know what the hell to do. So you will start taking antipsychotic medicine though you have a stomach pain. So what I'm trying to tell you is, do you want these machines to decide what is wrong with you? Today, if you're already there, tomorrow, if the machine says there's nothing wrong with you, there's nothing nobody can do for you. That's how we are headed. Now go back home and ask your grandfather or your great-grandfather how many times in his life has he got a blood test or an X-ray done. He'll either tell you once in my lifetime, or he'll say I never got it done. You guys, students, are in your 20s. You would have already got it multiple times. You would have got a blood test and you got an X-ray done. You would probably have a CT scan also done already. So do you want to believe in the statistics that are being given to you, or do you want to believe in your living grandfather who's had a wonderful health? You decide. What is it that you want? So this is the situation of today, tomorrow. Now, how do emotions cause diseases? Let me explain this to you. You know that the moment you stop breathing, you die, right? More than the heart. It is when you stop breathing, you die. Breath is your essence of your existence. How many of you know about your breath? Have you ever tried to observe your breath? Do you deep breathe? Do you breathe deep, shallow? How is your exhale? How is your inhale? What is the gap that you have? Do you even know that you've been living for 20 to 30 years, or a lot of people so many years? Do you even know that every 40 minutes predominantly you breathe through the left and then it changes to the right? Are you aware of this? No. Lots of you are not. Breath is the essence of life, but we do not know what breath is. We have never had the time to look at, because we take these things for granted. Now, it is proven that you breathe a different way when you are angry. When you are panicking, you breathe a different way. When you are angry, you breathe a different way. When you are jealous, you breathe a different way. When you are joyful, you breathe a different way. Now, when there is an intense emotion that happens in your body, the breath changes, and this intense change in the breath will cause disease. A lot of diseases are caused by emotions. A lot of chronic diseases. I'm not talking about infectious diseases, but most of the chronic diseases. Now, let me give you an example. Suppose you wake up in the morning with a nagging headache, and then you go to office or you come to college and your headache is still there. Lunchtime you have your lunch, your nagging headache is still there. By evening it becomes a little, why is this headache? Let me go check it up. You go home and you check your BP. It's 180 by 120. It is very high. Suddenly, this nagging headache which was there, it becomes a pounding headache. You suddenly start to feel breathless. You suddenly start to feel a chest pain. You start sweating. You start panicking. And then you go to the doctor. The doctor will check your blood pressure and say, oh, your blood pressure is very high. What are your symptoms? You'll say, I'm having palpitations, I'm having shortness of breath, I'm sweating, I'm having chest pain. Did you have all this through the day? All you had was a nagging headache. All your other symptoms that has come up because of the knowledge that your BP was very high and the fear. Isn't it? The doctor will give you some medicines for your blood pressure. Does he give you something for your emotion? He doesn't. Now there's this lady during COVID time. She was 34 years old. It was the peak of the COVID season and all the hospitals were full. So she felt breathless, and then the husband took her in an ambulance to one of the hospital. The hospital people said, our beds are full, but since you're breathless, we'll give you oxygen. They gave her oxygen. She felt a little better. She said, go to another hospital. They took her to another hospital. There also they said the beds are full. They said, we can't even give you oxygen. She went to the third hospital. By the time she reached the fifth hospital, she died. Later on, it was found that she didn't even have COVID. She just had asthma. So she died of fear. Now, I don't know how many of you are from rural areas, but have you heard about cobra bites, snake bites? So I stay in a village, in a farmhouse, and I asked them, what do you do if there is a snake bite? They said, sir, ma daggara oka seed undi. There is a seed. So we put that seed, and that seed sucks away all the snake venom. I said, let me take a look at it. It was a tamarind seed. Have you guys seen tamarind seed? It is absolutely not porous. Forget about snake venom. It can't take in even a drop of water. It's so hard. Essentially, when a snake bites you, when a cobra bites you, you go into panic mode. When you panic, you breathe heavy. And when you breathe heavy, blood clot happens within the body. That's called as a cytokine storm. That is how people die. The blood thickens. This is exactly how most people died during the first time of COVID. Have you all heard of cytokine storm during COVID? You must have heard. It was all over the papers. Cytokine storm is induced by fear. So most of the people who died during the COVID time died because of fear, not because of COVID. The same COVID is still there today also. It's just that the government is not coming up with how many people are affected with COVID, but nobody is dying now because people have all gotten used to it, that fear has gone away from them. So these emotional factors, now everybody knows that blood pressure, diabetes, you know what psoriasis is? Psoriasis is a skin issue that comes on the skin. Many of the diseases have got stress as one of their reasons. Cause is stress, they say. Now, when you go to your allopathic doctor for your blood pressure or your diabetes, he will ask you to get your fasting post lunch and a HbA1c. He'll say, take these medicines, this will decrease your blood pressure. Blood pressure, diabetes is an effect. It is not the cause. The cause is written in every Google. The cause is stress. Is any doctor treating you for stress? How can your diabetes or blood pressure be in control if you only treat the effect? The cause and the effect both has to be treated. That's the only way that you can get any chronic disease into control. Now, this is where the alternative systems like homeopathy comes into it. Like she rightly said, homeopathy works on the mental sphere. Homeopathy works on the emotional aspects of the person. So go ahead with your allopathy. I am not against allopathy. Allopathy has done some wonderful things. But along with that, to treat your diabetes or your blood pressure or any chronic disease is migraine. I'm sure a lot of you get migraine. How does the migraine come? When you're stressed, you get a migraine. When you go into the sun, you get a migraine. But the doctor gives you a tablet which will just take care of your pain. What are you doing about the cause? So in every disease that you get in your life, let's say warts, pulipirlu, massa. You go to the doctor, the skin specialist will remove it. It will come back or no? This is because the wart that you see is only an effect. The cause is a genetic tendency that cannot be removed. That has to go only with alternative systems like homeopathy, yoga. So these are the things that you need to understand. It is not just taking care of the effect. You have to take care of the cause also. That's very, very important in treating a disease. Most of the diseases, cause and effect has to be treated. Why is this fear? Why are we so scared? Fear of disease is one of the biggest disease in the world. Fear of disease. It is because the moment you're diagnosed with something, you don't know what to do. You said you're going to die. Everything goes into, somebody in the house gets a chest pain. There are two ways of looking at it. If there is a calm and quiet person in the house, he'll come and say, it's just gas, nothing will happen, go to sleep. He'll go to sleep. But if there is somebody who is scared, he'll come and say, Ammo, this could be something to do with the heart. Why take a chance? Immediately your mind will start to go, it could be my heart. Suddenly you start getting palpitation. Suddenly you start getting breathless. Suddenly you start feeling a chest pain. Then you go to the doctor. 95% of the people who go in the night to NIMS emergency with chest pain are because of gas. It's a fact. So this fear, so much of fear is there. This fear of death is something very, very dangerous. Let's visit this death very briefly. Where I stay in the farmhouse, I have a couple from Jharkhand who has got a 4-year-old baby. Now one day, we've got ducks in the farmhouse. She used to play with these ducks. So one day, one of the ducks died, and then all the people started standing around it to find out why this duck died. Slowly, this girl Neha, 4 years old, she came and she saw the duck lying there. She went and then she pulled it out of the cage. She pulled one leg, then she pulled one of the wings. She played around it for a little while. She knew that the duck didn't respond. And she quietly went away and started to play with her toys. Now, in this few minutes, Neha understood what death is. She understood what happens. Okay, this duck was with me yesterday, today it's not with me. So this is what it is. She understood the whole concept of death. But how were you explained about death by your father, mother, or uncle, or grandparents? Oh, death is so dangerous. It is such a loss. It is so painful. Don't even talk about death. Right? Look at the difference between Neha and you. Can you face death? No. Can Neha face death? Or it's a matter of just. The fear is inculcated into us by people who have told us what death is. They have not let us decide what death is. They have told us what has been told to them. So there is a lot of fear that has been there, deep embedded within you. That fear has to go. Now, I've told you about this. Let me tell you something about the happiness index. I'm sure you all heard People saying that there is God in you. There is God in everybody, right? Every religion, every tradition speaks that there is God in you. How many of you have seen God in your neighbor? Has any of you seen? But all religious books say there is God in everybody. Where is the God? No. The reason they say that there is God in you is because when you're born, a child is born. Suppose you go and play with a 1-year-old kid. You're in a grouchy mood. You have a fight with somebody. You suddenly come and play with a 1-year-old child. Do you smile or no? Looking at the kid, you will automatically smile. Because there is goodness oozing out of the child. Why is there is goodness or godness that is oozing out of the child? Because the child has no judgment. The child does not know what is right, what is wrong, who is good, who is bad. The child has no idea. So the child is not judgmental. So the child is happy. Now, as the child grows up, the mother starts to teach him what is good, what is bad, who is good, who is bad, what should you do, what should you not do. So the child learns a whole lot of things. Slowly the child starts to form his own opinions and the God goes into the background. God doesn't go away. God can't go away because we are a part of God. Just that the God goes into the background. Spirituality is all about unlearning these things and bringing God to the foreground. That's as simple as that. Now let me ask you another question. How happy were you all when you were 6 years old? Bubbling in joy, you were running around in joy, you were dancing, you were shouting. Now you are in your 20s, there are people in their 50s. Has your happiness index gone up by 5 times? 4 times? 3 times? At least are you as happy as were you when you were 6 years old? Yes or no? Are you as happy as you were 6 years old? You're very happy. You progressed a lot in terms of comfort and conveniences. Science and technology has given you so much of science and you're 100 times more comfortable and convenient than you were when you were 6 years old. But you're not even as happy as you were when you were 6 years old. Are you going in the right direction or the wrong direction? Think about it. I'm not here to tell you what is right, what is wrong. I'm just putting facts before you. Everything that we do in life on our own, like you've joined the university, you want to excel in studies, you want to become something, you want to earn a lot of money, buy a car, buy a house, find love. Everything that a human being's done on his own is done in pursuit of happiness. Yes or no? Name one thing that you do on your own which does not involve happiness. One thing. You eat, you smoke, you drink, you drive, you buy. Anything that you do is in pursuit of happiness. So logically speaking, when your comfort and conveniences come up like this, your happiness index also should be on the rise. But unfortunately, it's not on the rise. You're in the wrong direction. I'm here to kind of show you some ways and means of going back into that right direction. So let me begin with meditation. Most of the people think that meditation is some kind of a mystical experience. They think that, you meditate and then there's some heavenly thing that happens to you. Something unusual happens to you. Something that has not happened to anybody happens to you, and that is how they start to meditate. But within about 10 days, 15 days of meditation, nothing is happening. And they leave. Their expectations are very high. Let me tell you what meditation is. Meditation is nothing but being in the present. Our mind is all the time jabbering. All the time jabbering. There are two particular thoughts that our mind is jabbering about. One is the past, which are our memories. Good memories, bad memories. Two is the future, which are our tasks, what to do, what to become. These are the two thoughts that are all the time jabbering. It's a movie that is going on in everybody's head. Now, in meditation, you quieten the thoughts of the past and the future. You are in the present without any thoughts. That is what is meditation. Now, it is like you're standing in front of a huge machinery. It's there's a lot of sound, a lot of vibration. Suddenly the power goes down and goes off and the machine shuts down. How do you feel? There's a calm. There's a feeling of goodness. That's exactly what you feel in a meditative state. Because your thoughts are down, you feel calm. Your head feels very light. Your body feels very light. You feel like you're floating. This is the state of meditation. In this meditation, what happens in the body is, we have something called as a pineal gland. I'm sure all of you know about it. It secretes some hormones called as dopamine, oxytocin, endorphin, serotonin. These are called as good feel hormones. In this state of no thought is when all these hormones are released. When these hormones are released, you are in a state where you're thoughtless. Whatever is the next thought that comes into your mind, it intensifies that thought. It could be good to see. We have a vivid sense of imagination and a beautiful memory. So, some memory can come, some imagination can come. Whatever is the first thought that comes, we are stuck in that thought in meditation. That's why you feel a lot of people who are meditating either crying in joy, crying in sadness, laughing, smiling. Because you're in an intense experience. A thought is intense. That's what meditation does to you. An intense experience is something where it is focused. Like you go up to the podium to receive a trophy for topping the university. It's an intense experience. I'm standing here and talking to you. All of you are listening to me. It's an intense experience. Sex is an intense experience. There are so many intense experiences. Human beings are all the time craving for intense experiences. So this is meditation. Being in the present is what is meditation. There are, of course, various methods of doing meditation that probably will come back to it when I probably visit again, or if we have time. I'm trying to briefly touch many topics so that you can go home and think about it and then analyze these thoughts. Now let me talk to you about thoughts. Albert Einstein says everything in the world is a vibration. Nikola Tesla says thoughts are vibration. It only means that every thought that comes into our mind goes out into the universe as a vibrational frequency. Now, if Isaac Newton thought about the theory of gravity, it started as a thought. He developed on that thought and then he came up with the entire theory. So that thought is out there. Similarly, every thoughtful person, every scientist, every discoverer, it all started as a thought, and all those thoughts are out there in the universe. Not just thoughts of people who are living, people who are right from the evolution of humans. All the thoughts are out there. It's like a radio station playing multiple songs. It is there. You just need to tune into that particular thought and song. All the thought is available for you. I'll explain to you how that comes. Now suppose after this lecture, one of you want to go out and I want to have a cigarette. You have that thought in your mind, and as you walk, you find somebody standing there. He'll look at you and he will not talk anything. He'll come with you. Then another person joins you. By the time you reach there are about 5-6 persons. All of them just want to smoke. It's a thought. You've never said anything. Suppose you're sad and depressed. You attract those thoughts. You get people with similar thoughts. It's tuning in. Have you seen thousands of birds which fly together? They don't dash against each other. Hundreds of buffaloes, they run together. They don't dash against each other. 50 human beings run together, there is a stampede. Because there's a movie going on in everybody's head. Everybody sitting in this auditorium has a movie going on in their head. Somebody is saying, what the hell is this fellow talking about? Somebody is saying, I have to get back home. Somebody is thinking of something else. Everybody has a movie. The most intimate partners, husband and wife, the most important, how much ever in love they are also, they have a different movie going on in their head. You cannot have a similar movie going on in your heads. These are thoughts. So if you're able to access certain thoughts without doing anything like smoking or like, a thing like that, just imagine with a little bit of meditation, how much you can grasp from the universe. Let me tell you the story about Ekalavya. You know about Ekalavya, the character in Mahabharata. So this guy went to Dronacharya, said, I want to learn archery. Dronacharya, for whatever reason, said, I cannot teach you archery because I'm whatever. So this guy went back and he made a statue of Dronacharya and he started to practice. And he became the best archer in the world. He was better than Arjuna. The story goes on to say that, Dronacharya asked Ekalavya for his finger so that he doesn't compete with Arjuna. But the point I'm trying to make is, how did he make a statue and become the best archer in the world? Few thousands of years back, the student life used to be only between 12 and 21. Nobody studied till the age of 12. 12th, they were sent to an ashram under a guru, and by the age of 21, they would finish their education. There was no Google, there was no library, there were no books. But the knowledge got transmitted. It was transmission through meditation. Everything was transmitted. That's exactly what Ekalavya did. He tuned into Dronacharya's knowledge and he transmitted into him. If it can happen some thousands of years back, why can't it happen now? Today also, transmission is possible. It is just that your mind is all the time so busy. There is no place, there is no chance for it to download information. Quieten your mind. It will automatically download into you. What you need to do is, once you learn a concept is there in this, something is being taught in this class, go back home, meditate on that particular thing. The entire thing will download into you. You will know the concept. If you know the concept, you don't have to do anything. You understand. You are in touch with reality. There is nothing that you need to read. So you just need to focus. So there is information out there for you to download. Any kind of information is there out for you to download. You just need to know how to do it. Now, I'm sure all of you have heard of the 5 elements of nature: earth, water, fire, air and space. Now, we human beings are made of these 5 elements. Let me explain how. You were born a very small baby and now you have become some 50, 60 kgs or 70 kgs. How did you become that? It is all that you ate. All that you ate from the earth. Vegetarian, non-vegetarian, everything is from the earth. So what you are today is from what you have eaten. So earth is essentially a part of you. So if you get a blood test done, you will find magnesium, chloride, calcium, potassium, everything in your blood. It is all available in the nature. So it proves that you are a part of the nature. Scientifically, it is proven that 72% of you is water, including your bones. So there is water in each one of us. Third is fire. Fire means heat. In a place like Antarctica, earth is there, water is there, but is there life? Water is frozen. The plants cannot grow. Without heat, there cannot be life. So the sun, the heat from the sun, that is essential for existence. The next is air and space. Air and space basically comes from, the air is there in the air. What is not air is space. So we are also made of air. There are a lot of air in your lungs. In your stomach there is air. In your intestines there is air. There is space in us. Between the joints there is space. So air and space, we are a part of these 5 elements. We are made of these 5 elements. It's very important that we balance these 5 elements. Earth, you can balance by being in the open air, walking barefoot, planting trees, walking with mud. I can talk about my generation or a generation which is above me. There are gentlemen sitting here. Our childhood was in outdoors. We were always outdoors. We were walking, running. We were walking barefoot, running barefoot. Second is water. You need to drink a lot of water and you need to be in the water. We used to be in ponds, rivers. We used to spend a lot of time. But the younger generation needs to consciously make an effort to drink a lot of water and try and take a longer shower. Be in touch with your source of creation. Air and space will come by doing yoga and pranayama. I've already explained to you how emotions affect health. You have to correct your breath. That comes from pranayama. So you have to do these things. These are the things that will keep your 5 elements in balance. Be out in the open, drink a lot of water, have a lot of sunlight every day, do yoga and pranayama. These things will make sure that you live healthy, not just physically, but even mentally. These are very important aspects that you must take care of. I believe that most of the diseases today are not because of lifestyle, not because of the food that you eat. It is because you are not in touch with your five elements. There is an electric car. If it does not get charged, can it go for a long time? It will exhaust itself. Similarly, you are a part of this earth. You are a part of these five elements. If you don't recharge yourself, how long will you go on? You are bound to fall sick. Today you are living in high-rise buildings. You do not have touch with. Nobody touches sand. The sand, mud is dirt for us today. Our parents themselves just say, don't play in the mud, you'll get. Have you ever caught an earthworm and touched it? We used to do that. So you're not in touch with earth, you're not in touch with water, you don't go out into the sun because your complexion will become dark. Nobody bothers about yoga, nobody bothers about breathing. These are your source of creation. If you don't give importance to the source of creation, you are bound to fall sick. Do you know the alarming rise of children who are committing suicide today? Alarming. I am treating personally 16, 17 years old children who are depressed, who are on psychiatric medication. This was unheard of in our times. I'm sure gentlemen sitting here, they would know. Where was all this? We never heard of all this. Frankly speaking, in our times, there were no cancers also. Right, sir? Hardly any case of cancer. So, I firmly believe this. These five elements of nature has to be in balance. That's one of the most important thing that you do. The second most important that you do is about eating. Now, let me ask you this question. Today, the amount of food that you eat is same as what your father eats, or your grandfather, or your great-grandfather eats. The amount of food. You eat as much as your father or your grandfather eats. This is because from childhood you have been told, beta itna khana. You have to eat so much. If you don't eat that, you cannot get up from the table. Correct? So you continue to eat as much as your parents and grandparents eat. Now let's look at your grandfather. He was out in the field. He was cycling. He was walking. He didn't have car like you or bus like you or he was 95% outdoor. Today you are 95% indoor. Does it make any sense that you can eat as much as your grandfather eat? Nobody has told you. Nobody has thought about these things. You just continue what has been told. You just follow. Listen to what you have been told. Now, technically speaking, your stomach is the size of your fist, This is how much is your stomach. All of you can just do this. This is what is the size, anatomical size of your stomach. This is how much the stomach can digest. But the stomach is very accommodating. It can keep increasing like a balloon. The more you eat, the more it will increase. But it can digest only this much. What will happen to the rest of the food that you have eaten? It gets partially digested. Do you know the carburetor in a motorbike? If it gets overflow, it gets choked. So this partially digested food is what is going and making you sick. Can't you understand? The excess food that you're eating, your stomach is not able to digest and it is partially getting digested and you're falling sick. Food is important as long as you're growing vertically. 16 years, 17 years, 18 years, 20 years. After 20 years, all the food that you make, you don't grow taller, do you? You only grow horizontally. And you blame that I'm obese, I'm that, I'm this. Why don't you realize that the food that you're eating is only going this way? It cannot go straight. So, you need to understand after you stop growing vertically, this amount of food that you eat has to come down by half. Because after that, the food is fuel. Now, there's a difference between hunger and empty stomach. Hunger you feel when your stomach wants energy. You eat. Empty stomach, science has proven that your brain, your body, everything works best when the stomach is empty. Do you feel good after your stomach is full? You want to lie down somewhere. You want to take a small nap. You want to sit down, I'll sit for some time and come. Nothing works when your stomach is full. So if you have this concept that food is fuel after you stop growing vertically, you give your food, your stomach only so much food. Now how do you give so much of food? You take a ball, this your palm size, this is the size of a ball that you should be eating, but eat every 4 hourly, because this much food gets digested in 4 hours, no problem. And you can eat what you want, don't be choosy. You put one sweet in that, put some biryani, whatever you want, you put in that and eat it, but eat this much. After 4 hours, go back and eat again, not a problem. Now, if you give it a lot of food, so much of energy the food needs. It's like, that cement and mud which is mixed in that mortar. Your stomach has to work like that. So much of energy, all your energy goes into digestion and you are left with no energy. You want to just lie down. Now, there's something also called as unconscious eating. Suppose you go to a dawat, marriage. You get in a plate, you take biryani and you eat it. The first morsel of biryani, "Arey, kya biryani banaya." The second morsel is good. The third mouthful, you feel that, very tasty. After that, you meet a friend of yours, you keep talking to him, and then you suddenly realize that my plate is empty. Isn't it? Unconscious eating. Then you again fill it up, and you stop eating only when your stomach is crying, "Enough! I'm done. I can't take anymore." Till then, you go on eating. Then you keep the plate down and you take a bowl of ice cream. First spoon, very sweet. Second spoon, sweet. After that, you don't even realize what it is. And last bite again, amma, that you eat it again very deliciously. Unconscious eating. We just used to this unconscious eating. Also, I'm not blaming you. It is the parents. Without our knowledge, we've told the children, eat, eat, eat. We have made it so compulsory that, if food has become so much important without realizing that we are damaging you people. If the child doesn't eat, we beat the child till it eats, or we punish the child that it doesn't eat. The child knows, "Mama, I don't want, I'm fine." And he's running around all the place. He's got so much of energy. Mother comes and tells, "Doc Saab, my child is not eating food." Is he active? Oh, he's super active. Why do you want to give him more food if he's super active? No, we used to eat so much. My mother told you used to eat so much. This is how we have spoiled you. We are responsible. But it's not too late. If you understand the concept and try to change away from that, it's not too late. Let me tell you this thing. If you're able to eat this much every 4 hourly, and if you eat only when you're hungry, trust me, you don't need to do exercise. There's no need for you to do exercise. This is for the students, faculty members and elder people. Even if you eat this much, you still have to do exercise, because a lot has gone in. But you guys, you don't have to worry about exercise if you eat only this much, and if you consider food as fuel and you eat only when you're hungry. Now let me talk to you about sleep. There is a concept that, you need to sleep for 10 hours a day, 12 hours a day, 8 hours a day. Now, these concepts came up about 200 years back. 200 years back, people used to be, like I said, 95% active. They will be doing manual labor. Their body needed rest. So they would come and sleep for 8 hours or 10 hours. Today, you are hardly doing any kind of physical exercise, and you want to sleep 8 to 10, 12 hours. For what? You decide. People like Narendra Modi, Shah Rukh Khan, Sadhguru, Bill Clinton, they don't sleep more than 4 to 5 hours. Most productive people in the world. You decide, you want to go by the statistics, or you want to go by the living examples of people who are competent enough even after sleeping only for 4 hours. You sleep, you decide. It doesn't mean that I'll sleep for 4 hours, 10 hours I'll be on my comp, I'll be on my phone. Stuff like that. You need to give your brain rest. You need to understand that. You have a lot of time in your hand for productive use. Don't waste it on sleep. It's a concept. I am again holding ourselves responsible. We've told you sleep for 8 to 10 hours. It's important. Sleep is important for a child because sleep induces growth hormone. So if a child sleeps more, growth hormones are produced and the child grows more. After that, sleep is laziness. Sleep is waste of time. So you decide. You want to look at the people who are alive and performing so beautifully, or you want to go by the statistics. This is something you need to decide. I'm not sure how many of you smoke, but the concept of smoking, let me tell you what the concept of smoking is. When you smoke basically because you feel light in the head. It gives you a feeling of goodness in your head. That's the reason people smoke, and that's the reason people are addicted to smoking. But medically what happens is when this nicotine it goes and releases dopamine. That dopamine is the one which makes you feel good and it makes you feel lighter. So when you smoke, this dopamine is released either in the first drag, second drag, or the third drag. The moment that buzz comes into your head, stop smoking. Throw away that cigarette. Because if you believe that you go on smoking, you will go on getting the buzz, that is wrong. 70% of the cigarette that you inhale is going and choking your lungs. It is not doing anything to you. You're taking it unnecessarily. I'm not promoting smoking here. I am only telling people who are smoking and who are not able to give up, smoke only till that buzz comes. Once the buzz comes, throw the cigarette away. At least you are reducing your smoking by 70%. This will be there in your mind. I'm telling you this, the next time you smoke, you do it. Those who are smoking. Similarly, for people who drink alcohol, it is scientifically proven that only 30 ml of alcohol can be metabolized by the liver per hour. One small peg in an hour is what the liver can metabolize. That is what goes and gives you that high cheers. You get that good feel. People drink 5 drinks in an hour, but only 1 drink gets metabolized. The rest of them is standing there in queue. After you go back and you're fast asleep, that is when it gets metabolized and it will give you that high which you're not even aware of. What a waste. So if you have to drink slowly. 1 peg an hour is the measure, because that's how much the body can take it. No point guzzling it. It's like you have to enter the stadium, only one guy can go into the stadium. All of you go and stand there, only one fellow can go inside. No point. So this is the logic, because today you may not be a smoker or a drinker, but tomorrow you might be a smoker or a drinker. Keep this concept in your mind when you smoke and drink, because you're unnecessarily harming your lungs, you're unnecessarily harming your liver. You're choking them. And it's of no use to you. Now, during our times, we never had Google, we never had, these kind of informations with us. If we had to know what is the capital of a country, we had to go to the nearest library and pick up a book, and we would know that. So during our times, anybody who could memorize a lot of this stuff, who could retain these things and then puke it out during the exams, were considered most intelligent. Right, sir? We had to memorize everything, go and reproduce it in the exam time. Today, all this information and knowledge is there, readily available for you. It is there in your smartphone. Forget about being a lawyer. You can be a doctor, a lawyer, an engineer, anything by looking at the smartphone. So today what you guys need to excel is in the concept, understanding what it is. It is not there in the by-hearting, it is not there in accumulating knowledge. That is not what it is. Application of knowledge is what is important today. You consider to be intelligent if you know how to apply the knowledge, and application of the knowledge will not come from by-hearting, it will come from understanding the concept. For understanding the concept, you need to be focused. To be focused, you need to have your thoughts away. To have your thoughts away, you need to be meditative. Make sense? Now, I will end my lecture with one last topic. Somebody asked me if I believe in God. So essentially, I've already told you that we are all a part of Earth. We are all the same. The plants, the animals, we are all a part of it. It is just that we wanted to be mobile, so we got disconnected from the Earth. Otherwise, we are a part of the same thing. I've already told you that a child is godlike. I believe that when I was born, I was God. So my journey today is basically to unlearn all that I've learned. What is right, what is wrong, who is right, who is wrong, who is good, who is bad. So my journey is basically to unlearn everything and try to bring the God out. It doesn't mean that I become God and I bless you and all that. It doesn't happen that way. Has God ever blessed anybody? Have you ever seen God come and give $1 million of rupees to somebody? Have you ever seen him come and give money to somebody? He doesn't come that way. For me, God or gods are gurus, because if I want something, he shows me the way to do it. I download information as to how to do it, how to achieve. If I want to earn, 100 crores, I will download information from there. So he's not God for me, he's guru for me. Anybody who teaches or who helps me to achieve what I want in life becomes a guru, not God for me. So I believe that there are gurus all around us. I learn from you, So there is God in every one of us. This is something that somebody asked me. So I wanted to put this across to you. And I'm really thankful for this opportunity that you have given me, and grateful to all of you who has made this happen. I am more than happy to take any questions from any one of you. Thank you so much. Essentially, like I told you before, ma'am, there is a cause and effect. And I truly believe that allopathy is fantastic for the effects of any disease. Like let's say for psoriasis, allopathy has got wonderful medicines which can just suppress the psoriatic lesions, but they don't go away. If the diabetic levels are very high, allopathy has got tablets and insulin which can bring the diabetic level in control, but it doesn't go away. Blood pressure, if it is high, allopathy has got wonderful medicines, but it doesn't go away. It doesn't go away because the cause is not treated. And unfortunately, there is no treatment for the cause in allopathy. So, I would always say a complementary treatment, a combination of both homeopathy and allopathy, if given together for a BP, diabetes, any chronic disease, rheumatoid arthritis, autoimmune disorders, multiple autoimmune disorders, you give immunosuppressants. They keep it in control, but it doesn't go away. But we need to look at a cure. Now, unfortunately, most of these immunosuppressants which are given, along with that, you're asked to do a blood test whether to see if your kidneys are affected. If your kidneys and liver are affected, they cannot give you any more allopathic medication. And a lot of youngsters are having autoimmune disorders now, rheumatoid arthritis, psoriasis, lichen planus. These kind of patients could be treated with both homeopathy and allopathy. I am not against allopathy. I greatly admire. There are saviors. But for chronic diseases, a combination of both should be taken. Not just homeopathy, but yoga and pranayama. It's very, very important. It's very important to keep the emotions in control. Emotions can be kept in control only by keeping your breath in control. And breath can be kept in control only by doing pranayama. So pranayama should become an essential part of everybody's life. It is the way you maintain yourself. And by being in touch with the 5 natures I told you. It is not fair on the patient to only depend on one system of medicine. Why? When there are so many systems available, so many solutions available, why can't they take all of them? They don't cause interaction. All my patients who are taking allopathy or homeopathy, I don't tell them to just stop allopathy and you take only homeopathy. No, you can take a combination of everything. There's nothing. 33 years I've practiced. I've not had a single case of side effect or side reaction or interreaction. Nothing. So it's absolutely safe to take anything together. Eventually you decide what is suiting you. The patient has to decide what is suiting you. If you're feeling good after starting homeopathy, slowly cut the allopathic medications. If your BP is in control after starting homeopathy and allopathy together, gradually taper off the allopathic medications and see if it is still in control. So that's the way to wean it off, and then I would recommend a combination for every disease. Thank you. I agree with you. The Vata, Pitta, Kapha, they are constitutions basically. So there are different personalities in this world. We are all part of different personalities. We are not same. All of us are different. But on a broader platform, if you look at it, you will find many people who are like you. I will find many people who are like me. You will find these are called as personalities. We are a group of personalities who have come on this earth. Let me take it a little back. If you look at Mahabharata, there are different personalities in Mahabharata, and each of those personalities are described very beautifully. If you look at people living amongst us, they will have the same personalities like the people in the Mahabharata. You will find a Shakuni in us, you will find a Duryodhan in us, you will find a Dhritarashtra in us. We are all different types of personalities. That is how the Ayurveda has divided the personalities and the medicine that has to be given to them. Now, if I am going to tell this to these youngsters that your Vata is gone, you need to take this, they'll laugh at me. Your Pitta is gone, they'll laugh at me. Instead, what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to tell them that you are made of earth. You are made of 72% water. You need the sunlight. You need air and space. So I am trying to tell them that you are a part of earth. That's the source of your creation. If you are not in touch with your source of creation, you will fall sick. That is why they are falling sick. You are not falling sick as much as them because you are in touch. You are brought up with that particular. These people are not. They're living in the high-rise apartments. They don't go into the sunrise. They have no concept about breath. They don't do yoga. They do physical yoga. They don't do the pranayama. For them, body is important. They're not realizing that you're not the body, you're not the mind. That's a spiritual conversation. Probably we can have it some other time. But why do you need homeopathy? Because homeopathy, according to me, is the only system of medicine which deals with mind. Do you know that there is a medicine for a woman who hates her husband? She cannot stand the sight of her husband. There is a medicine called as sepia. There is a medicine for a person who wants to be alone. I don't want people, I want to be alone. There is a medicine for a person who cries at the drop of a hat. There is a medicine who gets angry. So all the emotional aspects of the people have been put together in the homeopathic books. And the person is grouped in those particular personalities. So there is nobody else, no other system which deals with the mind as much as homeopathy deals. Not even Ayurveda. Ayurveda does to some extent in the Vata Pitta, but nobody does it as much as the homeopathy does. I'm not trying to promote homeopathy here. I'm trying to promote alternative systems of medicines. I'm here to bring about an awareness about what is available out there. I mean, people don't know that there are available, we in our clinic have treated thousands of patients of migraine, sinusitis, immunity. So what will you do? Suppose, I don't know if there are people who get boils. You go take an antibiotic, it goes away. Again it comes back, you go take another antibiotic. Third time it comes. How long will you go on taking antibiotic? If you are aware that there is a medicine available in homeopathy for this, it's just to cause an awareness. So that's the whole intention. I don't think you can educate anybody. You can only give logic to them. Education won't last long. They listen to you, follow it for a few days, few weeks and stop. But if you give them a logic, they'll remember it all their life. Now coming back to the question that you're talking to me about, I'm sure most of us follow some religion or the other. We follow some tradition or the other. Any religion, any tradition that we take it, they all speak of the fact that the number of breath that you are destined to take is already determined. Correct? Every religion talks about the same thing. When you have to die, you have to die. There is also something called as karma. What you have to suffer, you have to suffer. All these things about this doctor saying that I have saved this man, he was supposed to die yesterday, but I saved him, he's living, all crap. Nothing like that happened. If that was the case, why isn't that they're able to save everybody in the emergency? Does everybody get saved when they reach the hospital? No. Apollo Hospital has got the best equipments, best cardiologists, but there are still people dying there. Why? So when you got to go, you got to go. Essentially, what you need to understand, if you understand this concept that what is meant will happen, if there is an emergency in the family, the first thing that you need to do is you be calm. It's all right. Nothing will happen to you. Trust me, nothing will happen. If you are that kind of a person who can induce that kind of calmness in somebody who is panicking, that itself will solve half the problem. Like I said, if there is a chest pain, you go and suddenly say, what happened to you? Come on, let's go to the doctor. It could be a cardiac arrest. You might die any moment. Finish. That fellow is gone there itself. Doctors do this. Ask ma'am. When we say, your sugar is, HbA is 10, my God. The patient is finished there. First of all, reassure the patient. You need to be reassured of the fact that nothing can go. God has made such a beautiful engine, machine, body. Nothing can go wrong with it. Now, there are people staying in rural areas. Number one, they can't afford medication. Number two, to reach a hospital, they have to travel 20 kilometers. They're living 70 years. Their life expectancy in India. In city also, their life expectancy is 70 years. So where is the logic behind it? You try and find a house which is close to a hospital. You think you will be saved? No. So be calm in the first place. Number two, you need to explain to them about the cause and effect, like I've told you. Most of the diseases, if you look at it, there is a cause and effect. It is only the effect that is being treated by the modern system of medicine. Cause is not treated. So you have to look at alternative systems. You look at any alternative system that you believe in that makes sense to you, not necessarily homeopathy, Ayurveda, it could be anything, but try and make. A lot of people come and ask me, what is the purpose of my life? They expect me to tell them that, your purpose in life is to become a big man, make so much of money, make this one. No. The purpose in life is God has been kind that He blessed you with intelligence. You need to first figure out how am I alive, what is keeping me alive, where is my breath coming from, what is the sun meaning to me, what is the earth meaning to me. Explore yourself, seek, and you will find the answer. That is the purpose of your life. Why are you alive? So basically, if you use your intelligence to keep yourself joyful, life becomes very simple. Unnecessarily, we are getting scared about anything. Now, I was traveling the other day on the road and I saw a board which says, if you are passing a lot of gas, you could be having cancer in your stomach. After 50, everybody farts. Every time you fart, you are reminded of that word. I am having cancer. So there, you are inducing fear. Then if you are farting to more than 2 to 3 times a day, you eventually end up there. That fellow will put something up your thing and then he'll say, everything is all right, go back home. But there is a fear. Everything that we do, there is a fear. If you don't eat so much of carbs, you will end up with this one. If you eat so much of carbs, you will end up with this thing. If you do fasting, you will end up with this thing. If you don't do fasting, which one to believe? Do you know that your body talks to you? Next time you sit down to eat, as you eat, listen to your body. Your stomach will tell you when to stop. Enough, it will tell you, just that you don't listen. Everything the body will talk to you. You just need to pay focus attention on the body. Focusing on your body is the need of the hour. This is what we are not doing. We have taken it so much for granted. We have given our body to the scientific community to manage. And they have made a mess out of it. Today we are sitting in that mess, unfortunately. So we need to go back to those days where you know what to do. Your grandmother always knew what to do. Your grandfather always knew what to do. They were not in this kind of trouble. Does it make sense what I'm saying? Thank you. I'm going to talk about millets. I would be talking against what I have been speaking the last 1 hour. My concept is very simple, sir. I don't think there is anything that can be good for all of us. Something what is good for you need not be good for me. It could be good for somebody else, it could not be good for anybody else. Everybody has to find what is good for them. It is not for the doctor to tell them what is good, what is bad. My concept of diet is after you stop growing vertically, you eat what the hell you want. Life is also about sense gratification. You're always looking for pleasure. If you don't enjoy what you eat, what is the point in living? Simple as that. If you're told to live a particular way, eating only this kind of food that you don't like, I'd rather die than be alive. What's the point? One of the major reasons why we live today in life is because we want to eat tasty food. Now, my concept is you eat what you want, whatever gives you gratification. Anything that you do with joy, that you do with happiness, will not harm your body. I can reassure that for you. So, in this bowl that I am suggesting, you eat whatever you want. We eat sweet, millet, rice, roti, whatever you want. It will not harm you because you are only giving your stomach so much that it can digest. Anything that you give more than that it can digest is what will be partially digested and give you problem. Many people, many patients come and ask me, what is the diet that I should follow? I spend 2 to 3 minutes with a patient, and how the hell can I say what is good for you? You note down what is good for you. When you eat sugar, you are having so and so problem. Okay, let me keep sugar away. If you're having milk, it is causing bloating and gas formation. Stop having milk. If I tell you to stop milk, you will go and tell 10 other people, Dr. Manoj said don't drink milk. They will also stop drinking milk. But it is good for them. Milk is good for them. Why should they stop drinking the milk which is good for them? It makes no sense to me. You are the one who decide. Look, I'll tell you something about doctors. We doctors, we spend 3 to 5 minutes with you. 23 point whatever is spent, you are on your own. You know your body better, or we know your body better. We spend 5 minutes, we know you better. Even medicines. When you take, when you should take, when you should not take, you should know. Not the doctor. You come and tell the doctor, I've been having for so many years, I've been having this, give me medicines, he'll give you. But you decide what is the dosage you want. You decide. You got knowledge in your phone, smartphones, everything is there. I'm only saying reclaim your life, reclaim your lifestyle. Take it upon yourself. You decide what is what. Don't let somebody else decide. It's all messed up. Stop doing that. You decide what you want. No. For these youngsters who are there, he's been asking about millets. A lot of mothers, a lot of these young girls, So I have these young girls who are going to get married. They come to me. The mother brings them to me. And the mother gives them all kind of lectures. You need to be like this, your mother-in-law. You need to treat your mother-in-law like this. You need to treat your father-in-law like this, brother-in-law like this. I am asking you, has it worked for you? You are teaching your daughter how to be with your mother-in-law, but are you good with your mother-in-law? No, you tell them whatever is being told to you. Before you advise the youngsters, first look at it if it is relevant today. Like I told you, amount of food that you eat. You tell your child, no, you have to finish that bowl. Is it relevant today? The child doesn't need so much of food because he is not physically active. So there are a lot of things that we need to change about what we tell others, including us, sir, we doctors. We speak out of books. What we speak, these books were written 200 years back. 120/80 is the normal blood pressure. This was written 200 years back. 200 years back, they called 100 people. They checked their blood pressure. Okay, the average was 120/80. During those days, the people were 95% outdoors. They would be cycling, swimming. They would be working in the field, paddy field. Not much stress, no processed food and all that. How can you, who is 95% indoors, have 120/80? Is it possible? Why didn't you go and ask your doctor the same thing? The next time you go to the doctor, he says, your BP is 130, 140, you have to start on medications. Ask him, sir, to 120/80, 200 years back it was told, how can I have 120/80? Sir, ask your doctor, let's see what he has to answer. So use your intelligence everywhere. I'm saying reclaim your medical. Don't let the doctors dictate things for you. Live life on your own terms. I believe that being alive is important. I mean, being alive is not important. Living your life is what is important. My 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 father, I'll just tell you something about my father. My father was a homeopathic doctor. He was a very famous doctor. He used to have his drinks every day in the evening. Very successful person. And he eventually ended up having cancer and he was bedridden. So he was bedridden, and then that was the time I became a doctor. And all the knowledge I came, and he used to ask me in the night, give me 1 or 2 pecks. I said, no chance. How can I give you? It's against, you'll fall, your health will deteriorate. Every night he used to ask, he used to plead, but I have instructed everybody not to give him. He's continued like that for 1 year and he died. If I look back, what did I gain out of the whole thing, not giving him? If I had given him that couple of drinks in the night, he would have slept well, he would have eaten well, he was used to it for the whole of his life. But medicine, knowledge of medicine told me not to give him. I tortured him for 1 year. I tortured him. So sometimes in life, you have to take decisions depending upon the situation. Looking at life, just staying alive is not important. What you do with your life is important. How you live your life is important. When you go to bed and if you wake up in the morning, first smile, I'm alive. And decide what you want to do for the rest of the day. More than 1 lakh of people don't wake up with you when they go to sleep. 1.5 lakhs, 1.7 lakh people who go to sleep with us do not wake up. But you are among the fortunate one, you're alive. Have a good day. Enjoy yourself. Do things that you like to do. Chemicals which are given to you, when these chemicals are given to you, your emotions are in control as long as you are on the medication. The moment you stop antidepressants or these chemicals, you are back to being what you are. It is again the effect that is being treated. The effect is the depression. But the cause of the depression is what we need to find out. The cause can be multiple. It can be hereditary. It can run in the families. Or it could be some emotional incidents that has happened in the person. So it is very important to go back to the cause. What is the cause is very important. Now when you talk about intellectuals who are doing this, most of the intellectuals, they commit suicide because of comparison. They compare. It is always competition. That is the reason. Now, let me give you my own example, sir. I have owned 50 cars in my whole life. 50. I'm not exaggerating. 50. Now, all these cars I have bought is not for my own pleasure. It was all to show the people that I have arrived. It was all for somebody else that I have done. When you build a big house, you don't build it for yourself. You build it for appreciation from others. You need just 1 bedroom and 1 bathroom. You make a 5-bedroom house for what? You buy a big car, a BMW, Mercedes, you buy to show it to others. Everything that you do in life is basically to prove to the other person that you are more superior than him or you have achieved more than him. The moment you are able to let go of this comparison and you live life for yourself, there will be no depression. You will not need medications, you will not need counseling. But this will come essentially from being brought up like that. We are not brought up like that. We are being brought up with a competitive state of mind. You have to be top in the class. If you have to be top, the second guy is going to feel depressed, the third is going to feel depressed. You are stamping on somebody and getting on top. So we are taught like that. Our thought process has to change right from childhood about this competition. It has to go. Like I said, every one of us is intelligent. It is just that we don't use our intelligence. In the first trimester itself, you are told you are intelligent, you are not so intelligent, you are super intelligent with your marks. You are already stamping somebody there. Expectations go up. Here, you are feeling depressed. So a whole lot of change has to come in the education process itself or the way we are brought up here. Homeopathy works wonderfully for psychiatric illness. Now, what I suggest is if you are on a psychiatric illness, psychiatric medications, combine homeopathy and allopathy together and gradually taper off the allopathic medication. Absolutely. Practice alternative systems on your own. This is basically the question. Now, 5,000 years I've told you Ayurveda is in existence. 250 years homeopathy has been in existence. Have you heard of any side effects of Ayurveda or homeopathy? Every drug in allopathy has got a side effect. But have you heard of a single side effect that has happened, except from some allopathic doctors who says that no, the Ayurvedic medicines have got some mercury in them and all that. But otherwise, have you heard of anybody dying with allopathy or Ayurveda? I mean, homeopathy or Ayurveda? No. Homeopathic medicines are and Ayurvedic medicines are very, very safe. There is nothing wrong when you practice it at home. Thousands of generations we have lived. Our grandparents always lived on these generations, these things. They were not qualified. Second question is, does this work? Can anything last thousands of years if it doesn't work? Simple logic. Can homeopathy last 250 years all over the world if it would not work? Nothing can last if it doesn't work. People will just rubbish it. 250 years it has lasted. Ayurveda 5,000 years it has lasted. So it's absolutely safe to practice on your own simple things. Don't go into diagnosis and all that. Let the doctor do the diagnosis. Now the second question coming to you from a short course. There used to be an RMP course which was there, but I think the government abolished it. Now you are not allowed to practice homeopathy unless you have a proper degree. It would be nice. I would always suggest that a short course can come up where people can take care of, like our grandmothers used to take care of the family. It would be wonderful if they had a first aid course and then you can practice it in the house. That will be wonderful. That doesn't mean that we doctors will lose our practice. No, you will anyway come to us when there is major diseases or something. You will always come to us for diagnosis and all that. Who is the best homeopathic doctor who can spend a long time? Definitely it is not me. I don't do that. Because, first of all, if you want somebody to spend a long time with you, you need to look at your psychological health. You need somebody. You have, I don't mean it in a bad way. All of us have it. People, you expressed it, a lot of them don't express it. One of the only reasons why homeopathic doctors are successful is because they give a lot of time to the patient. People don't go for the medicine. They go because somebody is listening to me. My wife doesn't listen, my child doesn't listen, my grandfather, nobody listens to me, nobody has a time for me. This doctor is giving me 15-20 minutes, he's listening to all my problems. It is very good. I have come out with a shortcut where, within 2 to 3 minutes, I know what is the diagnosis because I know what personalities are. I can know a particular person, see, this fellow will suffer from so and so. This is the way he'll react to a particular season. Because I've read human beings, so I know what it is. There are many doctors, I can personally tell you, or maybe you can contact me on the email and I can tell you. By the way, I also need to tell you that there is an app which I have come up with. You can always go on to drmanoj.com, drmanoj.com, and I have given videos on each and every disease that is available. I've given my view of what is this disease, what can you do about this disease, what is the best treatment that is available for this disease. So you have a sinus, you go there and see what I have to say about sinus. You have arthritis, you have hair fall, you have PCOD. You can keep it in your phone, and whenever you download that app, it's free. Whenever you need some information, all information about your health is available on that app. You can go on to drmanoj.com and download it. I hope I've answered your questions.